we are recording. I have the fucking, chapter stuff by my side. I am ready to go.
Say the racial.
We should add the funny editing effects.
You know what?
Penis music.
If I can figure it out, I'll do it.
Put Labyrinth Stone in the back.
Okay.
Do not put a laugh track.
Okay, but I will read from Dolly to Tomboy, and then Knuckles can take over.
Like, I don't know why, but this artist just has like a thing where like every time he refers to a character, he likes the skater pup or the edgy goth or
yeah.
science. Yeah, I don't know why he does that.
He failed English.
But Dolly was outside with her brothers, the Demetrio, as they played with a ball in front of their house.
Demetrio.
Dolly skated around practicing her moves as he would normally do, the other pups inside doing different activities. The Demetrio had wanted to be outside and Dolly decided to be with him. She knew the three were careful not to get on the road. The street they were on was not particularly busy. Cars hardly ever came down this road, and bikes were more common. The skater pup looked over to the brothers and stopped. They continued playing with their ball. Dolly took a moment to enjoy the scene. She felt sentimental, an odd feeling for the adventurous Tom.
For some reason, she watched the little pranksters play. For once, they weren't getting in trouble, and it warmed her heart in a way. She continued her gaze as she heard something. At the same time, the trio's ball rolled into the street, and they chased after it. Dolly looked to see the source of the noise and gasped. Barreling down the road, a car seemed to be going too fast for Dolly's comfort. Vroom, vroom. Demetrius, look out. Inspired by this? Do you think? Because it's literally an exact quote. It's replacing Brian with Demetrius.
Yeah,
wait a second, what if Seth MacFarlane wrote?
Okay, so start at Demetrius Lookout and then end at fucking Impact or something.
Okay. Demetrius, look out! She yelled as loud as she could. Her brothers were too focused on the ball and continued after it. She was terrified, and yet in an instant found herself zooming towards her brothers on her skateboard. Instinct took over. She had to beat the car and save her brothers, who still had not stopped. She managed to make up the distance, and noticed the car was moments from crushing them. She went to grab her brothers and jumped from the skateboard, bracing for impact.
Okay,
I did feel like...
Where do I read?
Okay, now Toaster, go start at Dolly and all the way to Scared.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, I got a long part. Do I need to try to sound cinematic?
I mean, you can if you want to.
I managed to make up the distance.
Number 15.
Do it.
Dolly heard the crunch of her skateboard. She heard screaming, and lastly, she heard a thud as the car drove away. Still trying to gather her mind, she looked around, seeing Dimitri 1 and 3 scared out of their way. The skater saw her board smashed to pieces, but her heart sank as she realized she only had 2 brothers in her arms. Frantically, she looked around and her eyes landed on a black and white shape. No, he can't, Dolly blurted out as she ran over, noticing red everywhere as she got closer. She tried her best to be calm as the other Dimitris arrived as well. Bro, say something. Dolly, will he be okay? One of the Dimitris asked, his voice panicked and scared.
You voiced it as, in fucking Critikal's voice, right? And I will voice it in fucking Chill's voice.
Heck yeah.
Everything hurts. Dimitri too struggled to get out. He was covered in blood and barely moving. You two, go get Dylan and tell him to come here now, Dolly ordered as he tried to hold back tears. The 2 Dimitris ran as fast as they could as Dolly stayed with their injured brother. Please don't leave me. I'm scared. Dimitri too begged his sister in tears. I'll be right there. I'll be right here. I'm not gonna leave. It's gonna be okay. His sister said and pulled him into her arms to cover him. I'm starting to feel numb. I can't move. I don't want to die. The young pup cried out to his sister. Dolly was trying not to cry as he watched her brother draw on his last breaths. Okay, now Knuckles. Just hang in
Hang in
there.
there, you'll be okay.
Okay,
Everything
Fluff,
will
just
be
hang in
okay.
there
Dolly
too.
consoled him as he was breathing, beginning
The
slowly.
CPR.
Dolly, please save me.
What is
Mother,
this supposed to be?
his eyes begin closing. No, stay with me.
Cynical.
Stay with me. The sibling tried to encourage his brother, clinging to his life in a losing battle. A dog, familiar voice of a stepbrother exclaimed as Dylan rushed over to his siblings. Been hit by a fucking car. I tried to save him, but they bit her lip. Herself from crying. She looked to her injured brother as her breathing had stopped. To start CPR. Paul stopped her, and Dylan shook his head as she looked up. From all we could have done, Dolly, eh, mate? Brother told him. This was on the verge of cracking.
I'll tell Dawkins to take the pups in the backyard, and then we'll take the body inside and cover it up. Dylan told his sister, almost dejected. We'll need to call Mom and Dad. Dolly merely nodded, and she couldn't say anything as much as she wanted to. Dylan walked to the door and called out, Dawkins, get the pups to the backyard. Dawkins entered the hallway and saw Dylan. What's going on? Two of the Dimitris came to me and were in tears. Where's D2? Dawkins asked, not knowing the situation, but there was a concern in his voice.
You'll find out in a moment. Just do what I ask and tell the Dimitris to wait for Dolly. Dylan told his assistant in an urgent tone that genuinely understood and nodded. Dawkins ordered the pups to the backyard and stayed outside with them. Dylan went inside to get the old blanket and a wagon. He hoped he'd never have to do this, but the space pup hoped for a lot of things. He brought the wagon out to Dolly and then wrapped the body of their lost loved one in the blanket and set it in the wagon.
Dolly, let me take it from here and get yourself cleaned up. Dylan told his sister, whose coat had been coated. Okay, now y'all making me laugh. Has been coated red blood.
Oh, shower scene, fan service.
Dolly merely nodded and walked to the nearest bathroom. As he turned on a shower, the pup began to sob. How could I not have grabbed him? Dolly scolded herself as the water started to wash out the blood. I was watching them. I was right there. I just wasn't fast enough. Dolly continued as she wondered how she could have failed. She continued sobbing for what felt like forever, washing herself off as the water turned cold and making sure her fur was back to being black and white. Shaking herself off and drying her fur, she made her way out. As she continued into the hallway, she was met by two small pups. Dizzy and Dee Dee were crying and had run up to Dolly. Is it true? Did one of our brothers get hurt? The pups asked, worried about their sibling. Dolly thought about how to break the news to them.
Oh guys, the pups had not experienced loss before. I assumed the distinction would be gone. We're not alone in that respect. Many of the pups haven't dealt with the loss of a loved one before. I'm afraid Dimitri too isn't going to be with us no more. Dolly said, trying to break the news lightly. The young pups looked confused. Did he find a new home? Dizzy asked, to which Dolly sighed as he struggled to think of how to explain. No, you see, he got hurt, and it was really bad, and he didn't make it. Dolly explained to him. The twins both looked at each other and finally spoke. And Dada were Dylan and Dawkins, and are waiting for you. By the way, subscribe to Pyrocynical and buy my merch. Seriously, buy my merch. UMG took all they took all my money. They took Beach Walk away from me. I need it, please. What is Furboy even impersonating?
I don't know, just himself.
I was doing it how I usually do in my videos.
Gay Arizona.
The classic
I know who you
Furboy
should
voice.
impersonate.
I was thinking about doing Leafy.
You should impersonate that guy called War Talks on YouTube.
Yeah, do that War Talks, dude.
Okay, I fucking lost it because I was sitting there playing Siege. Where are we?
At Dolly, start at Dolly just nodded and end at came over to comfort her.
Well, Dolly just nodded and walked to the rooms her parents were in, seeing their fucking faces of all the oldest members of the family. She didn't bother with a smile. She saw Dante even more down than usual. Dylan and Dawkins were fucking staring at the floor, and her parents merely looked at her with concern. Dolly, when the ever-living fuck happened? Delilah was the first to break the silence. Her voice was somehow soothing despite the tone. I was outside with the Dimitris. They wanted to go outside but play in the front. Went out to watch them and everything was fine. At first, until a car came through and the ball they had been playing with rolled into the street. Dolly paused for a moment to catch her fucking breath.
I yelled for them to come back and they couldn't hear me. I used my skateboard and Dolly was choking back tears at this point. I went to grab them, but I had to jump from my board or we would have all been killed. It wasn't until I opened my eyes again I saw. The skater finally broke down. Delilah and Doug came over to comfort her. Come on, Dolly, it's okay. If it wasn't for you, we'd be burying more pups today, Doug said.
The worst thing you can say to your kids. Guys. It's like the worst you fucking piece of shit.
If it weren't for you, we'd be burying a couple more of your siblings. So we just gotta count our loss.
But petting the pup's head, I wish it wasn't any. Dolly let out with a whimper. Her parents comforted her as she laid on the floor. There, sweetie, let it all out. Delilah consoled her daughter and laid next to her. Her brothers remained silent as the two remaining Dimitri brothers Mary stood next near the wagon in the room. Mom said there was nothing anyone could have done. If we had gotten him to the hospital, he would have been put down, Dylan said in a dejected tone. Dawkins and Dante still sat in silence. Okay, now, this is your moment, I guess. Critical.
Dude, he's still out there. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. he stands out there for like an hour yelling random shit.
I could try to be Sonic. Like, honestly, I could try.
Yes. Just do whatever. It'll work.
Dawkins, got anything? And asked them as they both just sighed. What would be the point? We can't bring him back, Dante said in a sour tone. Similar to when he tried to help Dylan with Portia. Dawkins usually was one for quick-witted reply. Not even bother saying a word. I don't know. I just don't know, Dawkins said with a dejected sigh. He made his way out of the room. Dante also left the room and Dylan just stood in silence as the remaining family members mourned. I guess I'll go and break the news to our other siblings, Dylan said somber to himself as he made his way to the backyard. He even asked some of his older family members to entertain the pups. Digging and knew his younger brother Diesel was playing in the dirt. Dylan was about to tell the pups something.
Oh shit, I just read the fucking next sign. Oh my god.
Okay.
Now Dylan
I am back. What did I miss? Where are we at?
We're at now Dylan let this information sink in.
Now, Dylan let this information sink in. He didn't just lose his brother to an accident. It was a recklessness and carelessness that took his brother's life. He thought it over. Thanks, Diesel. Meet me out back. I have to talk to the other pups, Dylan said, and the pup just shrugged. Walking outside, Dylan noticed all the pups stopped what they were doing and turned to him. They all gathered around Dylan, waiting for him to speak. What's been going on, Dylan? Deepak asked, the first to speak. He sounded genuinely concerned. Now, I'm sure all of you have been waiting patiently. I appreciate each and every one of you. I really do. Dylan began and there was an audible confusion. Dylan, what is going on? Da Vinci was the one to speak this time. Listen, there was an accident earlier today. The space pup continued to say. There was still some murmuring around in the group. Come to think of it, where have the Demetrio been since this morning? DJ asked, now visibly concerned. I'm afraid there was an incoming car, and Dolly managed to get the two of the Demetrio to safety. Dylan gulped as he continued. He was really choking up still.
Dolly said Dimitri too got hurt. Dizzy said those seemed to not have come to terms with the news. Dimitri too was injured by the car he did make. Dylan confirmed as audible gaps could be heard from around. There is now much muttering and staring as many of the process. There was all. Fuck. Like, this is just way too, like, I don't know, this whole situation's way too cringy for me to focus.
Fair enough.
It's way too, like, awkward for me to confidently do this. Okay,
Man's just got hit by a car, okay?
There was now muttering and stares as many processed the information. Dylan saw his siblings' face go from worry.
Huh?
What?
Where are we?
We are
There
at...
was now muttering.
Not done yet? Are you fucking kidding me?
Nope.
Calm your tit. Anyways, there was now muttering and stares as many processed the information. Dylan saw his siblings' faces go from worried but hopeful to a dejected grimace after a moment of silence fell over them. The silence was odd and felt almost out of place. For the normally vibrant household, it was eerie that Dylan was left with more questions than he knew the answers to. His sister Dolly had managed to calm him down enough to walk outside. She didn't bother breaking the silence and went over to comfort the siblings with Dylan. She still felt empty and didn't have any desire to try and lighten up the mood. Dylan watched her comfort the pups as he did it well. He hated kids. Wait, what? Dylan watched... That's not a character. That's like his main character trait. He loves them all.
It said he hated it.
I don't even know where we are, but that line, man.
Oh, I misread. Did I just hear a card?
Fucking hate kids.
Okay.
Fucking hate kids. Also in fucking Walkies on the Wild Side. Let me check in on what the pups are doing.
Fucking hate kids.
Yeah. Dylan watched her comfort the pups as he did as well. He hated it. Seeing his family heartbroken just felt like being stabbed repeatedly with a rusty blade. He wasn't sad. It wasn't even a false denial. He was angry. What? Did I do something wrong again, huh?
A rusty blade.
No. It's just fucking morbid.
Oh, it gets worse.
Okay. The elder pup almost never angered. He and his sisters had always been... Hey, that was singular. The elder pup had almost never angered. He and his sister had always been opposites, and they were always would be. But the one they'd agree on was no one messes with their family and gets away with it. Later in the day, as their parents took care of the body, the pups set up for dinner. Fuck. Next turn, come on.
Okay. Knuckles needs to take over this time.
Pyrocynical or Sonic?
Either one.
Okay. Later in the day, as their parents took care of the body, the pups sat down for dinner. It was not hard to notice the empty seats, and that for once, everyone was quiet. There was no bickering, no funny story. It was as if time itself had stopped. Zawerdo. Ollie, please eat something, Dylan said, breaking the silence as he watched his sister stare at his food. I'm not really that hungry, his sister spoke with a disheartened sigh. Come on, at least a couple of bites. Keep your strength up. Encouraged to no avail. Think that you can get the pups settled in for bed? I need some time alone, Dolly said as she got up to leave the room. The pups began asking questions. Shh, listen, it's been a long day, Tails. Let's finish our food and go to bed. Dylan said to settle the pups down. Can we be excused too? One of the Dimitris asked, and the other nodded to Dylan. Yes, you two go rest. We'll talk in the morning, their elder brother told them and watched them leave.
Wait, I have a question before we go on.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's 1, 2, and 3. 2 is gone. So does number 3 become number 2? Did you get the promotion?
So, I'll say that right now. They still refer to him as Dimitri 1 and Dimitri 3.
Also, who names 3 of their kids
That is
Dimitri?
such a fucked question.
Oh my god, dude. Jeez. Okay, fucking hell. Okay. Time for bed, pups, Dylan said, leading the rest of the pups to bed. He made sure they were all tucked in, finally turned the lights out as he left. He then made his way to his sister's room to check on her. "Hey, Dolly, you awake?" Dylan asked through the door and waited for an answer. "No." "No, I'm not." The voice from behind the door spoke, and Dylan knew she was still shaken up. "Can I come in?" Dylan asked his sister, as he didn't want to be intrusive. "Yes, go ahead," Dolly let out, almost sounding annoyed. Dylan entered to find his sister in bed, turned away from him. "What do you want, Vadim?" Dolly asked, not even looking at him. "Did you notice anything strange about the car, Dolly?" Dylan asked. Then he expected his sister to ignore the question. "Other than speeding and going down the right side of the road," Dolly said, and seemed to have
And
realized
you
something.
see...
It was on the wrong side of the road. Over here, people drive on the left side, but the car was driving on the right side, Dolly confirmed, not knowing what to make of that information. "Thanks, sis."
You know what this means? This means our killer is American.
Fucking hate
What?
Americans.
No, because
Well, actually,
I don't know.
the
but,
UK is like one of the only two places where they drive on the right side of the road. The dude could be from Zimbabwe.
But then he wouldn't
Or-
afford a car. He couldn't even afford a car.
It could have been stolen. It was on the wrong side of the road. Over here, people drive on the left side, but the car was driving on the right side. Dolly confirmed, not knowing what to make of that information. "Thanks, sis. All I need to know. Diesel said he smelled something he didn't recognize. Dylan told her Wait, what? Dylan told her, causing her sister... Dylan told her, causing her sister to turn to him and... I think they used the wrong pronoun. Dylan turned to her, causing her sister to turn him into Okay, alrighty.
Dylan's a
told her,
woman,
causing her
confirmed.
sister to... Okay, I'm using the normal voice. Dylan told her, causing her sister to turn to him in shock. There we are. Diesel
Oh
saw
my
that?
god.
She exclaimed, sounding very concerned.
He saw the car and he said, Dimitri to have fallen over behind you and the car never slowed. Dylan confirmed uneasily to his sister. About this time, the two Dimitris walked in. "Oh hey you two, what do you need?" Dylan and Dolly asked in unison. "We can't sleep. Dolly, can we sleep in here?" Dimitri one asked while his brother stayed silent. "Yeah, come here you two." Dolly said as she knew why they couldn't. It was the same reason why she couldn't. When she closed her eyes, the scene replayed in her mind. Dylan nodded and left the tree alone, closing the door behind him. And that
I dare you.
is it. Yeah.
I dare you to do it at
Boys.
the end of the video.
We shall never deny a guest, even the most ridiculous request.